Hello everyone, Social Coach Michael Knight here, and today we're going to be talking about how things like self-isolation and quarantine are going to be accelerating us towards the future of human interaction, and what this is going to mean for people with competent social skills. The first big thing I've seen changing and has been changing over the years is that higher education and learning is going to move more to the online domain and be more self-taught to people, or taught on their, or remotely taught, but taught where they're isolated by themselves, learning off a computer. And this is going to make a lot of sense because of things such as practicality, affordability, and cost efficiency, especially in places like the United States where education is insanely expensive. The real value you get out of it, for a lot of people, it's just a place to go party, and that's what they're paying for. But for a consumer who actually wants to learn something, the value you can get from an online course can in many cases be much more valuable than you could get from an actual in-person learning experience. Not that there isn't value to in-person learning experience, but when it comes to how much you're paying to what you're getting, a lot of times it makes sense to go the online route. For example, a lot of times there's a professor, and the professor might be an expert in his field, but he's only obligated to teach you because the university forces him to through his contract. He's much more interested in doing his research in his lab, that's where he's really evaluated by the money he brings in through grants and things for his research, and he's just teaching because he has to, and he has no interest in teaching this introductory course at all. Some might, but a lot don't. Trust me, I've been there. And so he really leaves it mostly up to the TAs, and he just throws it all together, and he comes in and he does his 40-minute lecture and leaves, and he doesn't really care how much you learn because he's not really evaluated much on that. Now compare that to a person who maybe has worked in programming for 40 years or 20 years and has created his own course to sell online to people to teach. Now this person actually has a really much higher incentive to make a higher quality course, because if the course is high quality and a lot of people take it and then recommend it to other people, this guy could become a millionaire just through selling these courses. So there's a direct economic reason for him to be incentivized to make a really quality course. Plus there's the economic reason of the person taking the course who actually wants to learn the specific skill because they know that they can use it either in their current job or on a current project they're working on, which will have a direct financial return for them. Another thing that I find that's going to be held over a lot even after this crisis is remote working. Now, I think a lot of people working in the office, while it's required from some occupations, a lot of white-collar work, you simply don't have to be in the office. And most people still just go there out of tradition and habit and the employer requiring it. And this is going to show during this crisis that it's not really that necessary. Not only that, sometimes it's actually quite more efficient because the people aren't really distracted by all the coffee breaks and stuff like that. And in a depression or a recession, companies are going to have to save cost. And one big cost they can save on is rent, not having all that office space. And not having that office space is going to save them a lot of money, which they can do if they have remote workers working from home or wherever they choose. And right now they're being forced to invest in all the technology and processes that are necessary to be able to do this. Another current trend that I see accelerating is that people are going to spend a lot less time socializing face-to-face and much more time socializing within the online world, right? Using more dating apps and things like that, or in video games. And I think in my lifetime that people will spend much more time in these worlds than even interacting face-to-face in person. And you think about it, we might already be there, because the person walking down the street or riding the subway, they're often on their phones, not even in the present world. They're really already interacting with people on their phones in the online world. And that's just going to continue, especially more with VR technology. One thing that I find a bit concerning is that when you're living in a virtual world, you can be completely ruled over by other people. Because in a virtual world, you literally present no physical risk to another person. So if you misbehave or you simply cause some trouble, and you'll just have your online privileges revoked. And we already see this nowadays with things such as deplatforming. Of course, a lot of people are going to be too distracted to even realize this, and they're going to be given the illusion of having a lot of countless options, but in reality they're going to have very limited choices. We will continue our transition from the real physical analog world, where everything's a little bit messy and not everything's precise, into the digital world, where everyone and everything is quantized and must nicely fit into their dedicated box. When it comes to social interactions and relationships, the online world will provide cheap substitutes for the real thing. All these things, such as online learning, remote working, online socializing, these are all going to compound, so the average person's social skills are going to be highly diminished. people are going to spend less time in environments in which they would be naturally absorbing such skills. So what this means is that people with even slightly elevated social skills compared to the masses, they're going to have a massive advantage when it comes to things such as networking, business, and dating. Having decent social skills will allow you to an even greater degree differentiate yourself from others. Imagine you could be the best looking guy in the world, but if you're completely inept when it comes to in-person conversation, then a person with that type of skill is going to outperform you every single time. Those with decent social skills are going to be able to move through the real world with what seems like to others as having like godlike powers. Because in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Can you imagine what it'll be like when all future meeting people and dating is moved to the online world? Like you're nothing more than your two-dimensional photo that someone can easily swipe right or left on. And now you're in competition with millions of other people and your whole future is just dependent on some algorithm. Would you want to be confined by this, or would you rather have the ability to actively have control over and shape your own social life? As we move towards a world where everything is more surface level on a two-dimensional screen, becoming a more well-rounded person with depth who can express themselves effectively is going to become ever more powerful. If you're unsatisfied with the status quo of your social life, specifically when it comes to things like attraction and dating, then I recommend you check out my book. And if you're interested in improving your social skills for all situations, then I created an online course, and I also do one-on-one Skype coaching, which now, because of the current epidemiological situation, which has opened up my schedule because it canceled all my travel, I have more time for doing. So if you had applied before but got denied, feel free to apply again, and again you can find a link in the description below. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, ciao.